Good evening aspirants, welcome to daily editorial analysis of Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is 4th January 2025. These are the two important editorial topics we are going to discuss in this video. The first one is India's cross-border insolvency. What is cross-border insolvency? What are the mechanisms in India for cross-border insolvency? And what are the challenges in it? So these are the things we are going to discuss in this first editorial article discussion. This editorial article is taken from Hindu newspaper. The second one is a win-win for environment. This article talks about the adoption of electric vehicles in Delhi in order to reduce the pollution in Delhi. So this article is taken from Indian Express newspaper. So the first article is about cross-border insolvency. The second article is about electric vehicles. So these are the two articles we are going to discuss in this video. Now let us get into the discussion. Now look at this article. This article is about the importance of using electric vehicles in Delhi to improve the environment, health and saving money. Why do we need electric vehicles? See, in cities like Delhi, the pollution is a major problem. So a lot of pollution comes from the cars and commercial vehicles which release harmful particles such as PM 2.0, sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxide, etc. So these tiny particles can cause serious health issues like breathing problems and even heart diseases. So if we switch to electric vehicles, we could reduce these harmful emissions by up to 40%. So this would not only clean the air but also reduce the health related cost by 6%. So this is what the author of this article is explaining here. Now the Delhi has made a plan to encourage the use of electric vehicles. This includes giving subsidies, which means offering financial help to buy EVs and also making more charging stations available for these vehicles. Now there are many challenges in this transition. Now let us discuss about this article. Why Delhi needs EV, what are the advantages and disadvantages and what can be the way forward. So this is what we are going to discuss in this news article. See, an electric vehicle is a vehicle that operates using electricity which is stored in the batteries instead of relying on traditional internal combustion engines. So these internal combustion engines which is used traditionally burn fossil fuels and uses gasoline or diesel or petrol, anything. So EVs are considered environmentally friendly vehicles because they help to reduce the pollution and also offer lower operating cost. Now looking at the type of electric vehicles. The battery electric vehicles are fully electric and have no traditional engine. They can run entirely on the electricity which is stored in the battery pack. Next one is plug-in electric vehicles or plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. These vehicles have combination of electric motor with a regular engine. So this allows the vehicle to run on electricity for a while and then switch on to the fuel when the battery is depleted. So this is plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. Then there are hybrid electric vehicles. These vehicles use both electric motor and an internal combustion engine. But here the battery is charged by the engine and also through the regenerative braking. So there is no external charging for the battery in this vehicle. So this is a hybrid electric vehicle. The electric motor in this vehicle is charged by the internal combustion engine. Then another type is fuel cell electric vehicles. So these vehicles uses hydrogen gas as a fuel to generate electricity in fuel cell and the only byproduct is water. So this makes them the cleaner and more efficient option for the future. So these are the four types of electric vehicles. Now we shall see the advantages of electric vehicles. Firstly, they bring environmental benefits such as zero tailpipe emissions. So this zero tailpipe emissions means they don't release harmful pollutants and they also improve the air quality. When charged using the renewable resources like solar energy, the electric vehicles also have low carbon footprint. So this helps in fighting against climate change. For example, the cars like Nissan Leaf reduce the greenhouse gas emissions by making it a positive impact on environment. Next, in terms of cost saving, electric vehicles are more affordable to maintain. Charging an electric vehicle like Tata Nexon costs less than refueling a petrol car. The maintenance is also minimal because they have fewer moving parts. The governments are also offering incentives such as subsidies in cities like Delhi. Additionally, the use of cleaner vehicles reduces the health problems related to air pollution. So this can save millions in healthcare cost. Electric vehicles also excel in energy efficiency. So converting about 80% of energy used into the motion, whereas the traditional gasoline vehicles only convert about 25% of energy. So electric vehicles have high energy efficiency compared to the traditional vehicles. So this makes them more efficient. Regarding the performance benefits, electric vehicles deliver instant torque. So this allows for a rapid acceleration and operate quickly. So this will reduce the noise pollution in cities. Some models of electric vehicles also feature regenerative braking, which means they recharges the battery while slowing down. Electric vehicles also promote energy independence by reducing the reliance on oil imports, and this allows for use of renewable energy sources. In terms of technological development, electric vehicles are important with features like smart charging, which can optimize electricity grid usage. In a period of long term, electric vehicles offer savings on fuel and maintenance, even though they may have higher initial price. So these are some of the important advantages of using electric vehicle. Now, what are the challenges regarding electric vehicles? Adopting EV has its own challenges, even though they have numerous benefits. One of the important challenges is high initial cost. EVs are generally more expensive than traditional vehicles because their batteries are very costly. For example, the EV vehicles price is higher than internal combustion engine price. Another important challenge is limited charging infrastructure. There are not enough charging stations for EV, especially in rural areas. So this makes it difficult for people to rely on EVs. If you take the countries like India, the charging network is still underdeveloped, so this poses a barrier for EV adaptation. The next important challenge is battery issues. Electric vehicle batteries are expensive and they also rely heavily on the imports. So the batteries are made up of lithium and cobalt, which are not readily available in countries like India. They have to be imported, and this costs much for the government. So this makes the overall cost for electric vehicle go higher. Additionally, there are environmental concerns related to the battery production. The mining of the materials like lithium and cobalt for producing the batteries of EV vehicle can damage the ecosystem. So mining of lithium and cobalt is not environmentally friendly. Now let us see what are the government initiatives to address these challenges. Indian government has launched several initiatives to promote the adoption of EV. The most important one is FAME 2 scheme. The FAME scheme was introduced in 2019 with a budget of 10,000 crore. So this provides financial incentives for purchase of electric vehicles. This includes electric vehicles like two-wheelers, buses and passenger cars. The production linked incentive, that is PLI scheme, which is launched in 2021, focus on chemistry cells, that is advanced chemistry cells, ACC. Another significant initiative is Prime Minister E-Drive scheme. So this was approved by cabinet with a financial allocation of more than 10,000 crores. So this scheme also aims to speed up the adoption of EVs. So thereby it improves the charging infrastructure and create a strong manufacturing ecosystem in the country. Next one is the battery swapping policy of 2022. This policy addresses concerns regarding the charging time by allowing users to swap depleted EV batteries for a fully charged ones at a designated charging station. So this is a battery swapping policy. If you are having an electric vehicle, you can swap your depleted battery for a fully charged battery at the station. The next important one is e-Amrit platform. This platform is a mobile app and web portal, and this is launched to promote the awareness and adoption of EV. So these are some of the initiatives taken by Government of India to improve the adoption of electric vehicles in India. Now this is a main question regarding this topic. Pollution is one of the major challenges to our health these days. In this context, discuss the importance of transition to e-vehicles. In introduction, we can start with the data. According to British Medical Journal, nearly 1 million people are dying annually because of pollution. So we can stress the damage caused by pollution in the introduction. Next, coming to the body part of the answer, we can divide the body part into two parts. First one is challenges to the health regarding pollution. We have many challenges like cardiovascular diseases, pulmonary issues, cancer, neurological issues, etc. So what are the challenges caused by pollution? We can write in the first part of the answer. In the second part of the answer, we can discuss the benefits of electric vehicles. Like we have discussed in this news article discussion, we can list out some of the benefits of adopting the EV. Lastly, we can conclude the answer with a way forward. We can also mention some of the initiatives taken recently. So this is how we have to approach this question. With this, let us conclude the discussion. Now look at this article. The article talks about the problems faced by India with cross-border insolvency. Now what is cross-border insolvency? What are the mechanisms in India for cross-border insolvency? Let us discuss about this in this news article discussion. Firstly, what is cross-border insolvency? If a company which operates internationally, that is in multiple countries, runs out of money or goes bankrupt, what happens to the company? How do the company pay back their debts? who decides how much amount should be paid because the company is located in different countries. So this is the interesting topic called cross-border insolvency. Imagine a company doing business both in India and USA. It has factories, money in both countries, both in India and USA. But one day the company can't pay back the loans. That means the company goes bankrupt. Now here's the interesting part. The assets which company owns both in India and USA, and there are creditors for the company both in India and USA. Now who decides who has to handle this mess? Now which country's law apply to the company because the company is located both in India and US. So this is a cross-border insolvency. It is a process of managing debts, assets and creditors when a company is involved in multiple countries. Now why is this important? See, each country has its own rules for bankruptcy. India has IBC code for bankruptcy while USA has different rules. But when a company located in both countries goes bankrupt, which country's law apply to the company? Who will decide how much share the company has to give to the creditors? Which creditor should get the money first? The creditor who is in India or the creditor who is in USA? So there are many problems and challenges in cross-border insolvency. Without clear rules and regulations, the creditors who have given money to the company might start fighting over their share. So this could lead to delay of payments and this might make the things unfair. So in order to solve such problems, the countries can follow a common set of rules. For example, there is a common set of rules for cross-border insolvency called UNCITRAL Model Law, which is also called Cross-Border Insolvency Code. So it helps to coordinate these cases by ensuring a fair process for all creditors in all the countries. Take the recent example, Jet Airways, which is an Indian airline, is located both in India and Netherlands. When the Jet Airways went bankrupt, it had assets and creditors both in India and Netherlands. So the courts in both the countries had to work together to ensure fairness in settling the bankruptcy. So this case shows why India needs stronger rules for cross-border insolvency. So the most common law for this cross-border insolvency is UNCITRAL Model Law on cross-border insolvency. This means United Nations Commission on International Trade Law. So it is a set of guidelines to help countries to work together in areas like trade and finance. This UNCITRAL Model Law has four main principles. One is access. It allows the insolvency professionals and creditors from one country to participate in the bankruptcy proceedings in another country. Like we said, a company which is situated both in India and USA goes bankrupt, so the Indian officials can go to USA to inquire the bankruptcy case. Next is recognition. It ensures that a country recognizes and cooperates with the insolvency cases which is initiated in another country. Next is coordination. It helps the courts and professionals from different countries to work together to resolve the case efficiently. The last one is fairness. It ensures that creditors in all the countries are treated fairly and they can avoid any unfair advantage. So access, recognition, coordination and fairness are the four important principles of this UNCITRAL Model Law, which is also the Cross-Border Insolvency Code. So this is the only international law at present for cross-border insolvency. Now India is in the process of adopting this model law to strengthen this cross-border insolvency framework. While India currently handles such cases under IBC, that is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, the model law would make the process smoother and more aligned with the international standard. India has not yet ratified the UNCITRAL Model Law. At present, the section 234 and 235 of IBC, that is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, is used by India to enter into reciprocal agreements with the other countries. So these sections under IBC is the only thing which is used by India for insolvency cases which is happening in other countries. But these provisions have not yet been widely implemented by India. Many committees like Insolvency Law Committee, which is organized in 2018, and standing committees of 2021 and 2024 have strongly recommended adopting the UNCITRAL Model Law. But India has yet to adopt this model law for cross-border insolvency. Now what are the main challenges regarding this cross-border insolvency? See, dealing with the bankruptcy of companies which operate in multiple countries is very complicated. This is especially when there are no proper laws in both the countries. In India, several legal and administrative issues makes it very harder to manage the cross-border insolvency cases. The major challenge is the lack of agreement with the other countries. India does not have any enforceable deals with the foreign nations. Additionally, India also does not have a unified law for cross-border insolvency. So only the sections 234 and 235 under Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code is guiding India's cross-border insolvency. And this is also not yet fully implemented by India. Another problem is that National Company Law Tribunal, that is NCLT, has limited power to recognize or enforce decisions made by the courts in other countries. So NCLT does not have much power to enforce the decisions of courts which are present in other countries. So during a cross-border insolvency, some decisions are made in other countries and these decisions cannot be implemented fully because NCLT does not have much power regarding it. So these are some of the challenges for India regarding the cross-border insolvency. Regarding the administrative challenges, the delay in recognizing the foreign insolvency cases slow down the process. There is also lack of proper communication system between Indian courts and the foreign courts. So this lack of coordination also slow down the process of insolvency. In addition to this, judges and insolvency professionals in India lack training and expertise. So this also worsens the situation and slow down the process. So all these delays lead to the erosion of asset value, meaning the company's assets lose its value over time. So the slowdown of process means the losing of value for the assets of the company. So these challenges were seen in the recent case of Jet Airways. As I said earlier, the Jet Airways is located both in India and Netherlands, and the courts in India and the courts in Netherlands find it difficult to coordinate in this case. So the lack of coordination makes the process very slower and complicated. Now what can be the reforms or solutions to address these challenges? Let us see them. The most important reform we have to do is adopting the UNCITRAL Model Law. So this model law will modernize the India's insolvency framework. So under this law, India can enter into mutual agreements with other countries for solving this cross-border insolvency. The next one is strengthening the section 60 of IBC. So this will grant a broader jurisdiction and more powers to National Company Law Tribunal to address the international matters in insolvency cases. As I said earlier, the National Company Law Tribunal have not much powers regarding the cases from other countries. So amending this section of IBC, that is section 60 of IBC, and adding more powers to NCLT can empower it to handle more cases from abroad. So this can strengthen the cross-border insolvency cases. Next is codifying the judicial cooperation. India have to implement the Judicial Insolvency Network Guidelines of 2016 in order to enable the effective court-to-court communication. So the lack of court-to-court coordination and communication is slowing down the insolvency process, and this guidelines can strengthen this. So these are some of the solutions or reforms that can be done to enhance the cross-border insolvency cases. Now this is a mains question regarding this topic. Discuss the challenges in managing cross-border insolvency under India's current legal framework and suggest measures to align it with global standards. Firstly, start by explaining what is cross-border insolvency and why it is important in today's world. So this has to be your introduction. Then briefly explain India's current legal framework under Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, IBC. Also explain the limitations of this IBC in addressing the cross-border insolvency cases. Finally, suggest some solutions like adopting the UNCITRAL Model Law, creating reciprocal agreements with other countries, etc. So first you have to introduce this cross-border insolvency by defining it and why it is important today, and then in the body part of the answer you can explain the issues with India's model and what can be the solutions and reforms for it. So this is how you have to frame the answer for this question. Now we have come to the end of the video. If you like the video, please share it with your friends and don't forget to subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.